Perhaps I've shared with this group before, but I struggle with emails, with finding meaning or purpose or anything. I did not become a rabbi to have a full inbox every day somehow, even when I clear it the next day. It's absolutely full. If life was only emails, I would find no purpose. I would just be stuck behind my screen all the time. So where do I find purpose? Where do we find purpose in our lives beyond something like the minutiae of life? Well, our Torah portion gives us perhaps an answer. B'har-B'chukotai, we're at the end of Leviticus, and it says, Shesh shanim tizra sadecha, for 6 years you may sow your field, you may prune your vineyard, you may gather its yield, but in the 7th year the land shall have a Sabbath, a Shabbat of complete rest for the eternal. You're not to sow, you're not to prune. So we get what's known as the sabbatical year. Every 7 years, the land is to rest. You're not supposed to farm it. You can take whatever grows naturally, but you can't plant, you can't sow, you can't harvest, or at least harvest in a big agricultural way. It also has a release of debts. The land rests every 7 years. Now, the Sfat Emet, a 19th century Hasidic Polish rabbi, says, the Torah states clearly that a person must sow and harvest 6 years, just as it states that one must work for 6 days and rest on the Sabbath. This recognition infuses holiness and purpose into our work years and our work days. So it's an analogy, right, from the SATs. Weekly work is to rest on Shabbat, as your yearly agriculture is to the 7th year sabbatical. Just as Shabbat is this chance to rest and recharge, to study and learn, to pray and meditate, to be with friends and family for us, well, the sabbatical is the same, but for the land, for nature, for the whole world, in theory. And so when we just work nonstop, every day, 7 days a week, 24/7, 7 years after 7 years, when we work and work and work, or work just to work, or when we scroll on our phones mindlessly without any purpose or any vision of what we're doing, if we're only answering emails, right, we lack that purpose, that mission, that vision, that drive. But when we infuse our lives with purpose, whether at work, with family, with friends, with hobbies, then, as Dr. Jordan Grumit, MD, explains, with purpose we get decreased mortality, we get a lower risk of heart disease, lower chance of depression, longer, happier lives. Or as the Sfat Emet said, we get a holier life. And Shabbat is great because it can get us there, just like the sabbatical can help with nature. Shabbat can help us spend time with friends or family. It gives us prayer and meditation and reflection, that chance to simply rest and recharge. And then we can get out there with purpose. I know for me personally, Shabbat and this experience and leading and resting helps make those emails worth it. So may we each find purpose in life. May we each find a purpose that brings us health and happiness and holiness. And we say, Amen. Think a little bit about our own purpose in life.